thank you all for being here today. We have the Honorable Lieutenant Governor, who is going to be here as our keynote speaker, and we have many of our women that you see throughout the room, our success ambassadors, that are going to tell you today about their key to their success. We had another record-breaking year last year, helping more than 1,400 women in our efforts to provide women with educational programs to keep in line with our vision that no women live in poverty, are treated with dignity and respect, and are shaping their families and communities. Our clients come from hundreds of nonprofits and agencies throughout the great state of New Jersey. Many of them are here today in the audience. I'd like to just mention a few. The Latina Legal Education and Defense Fund, Women's Space, Homefront, Rescue Mission, Mercer County Community College, Middlesex and Mercer One Stop, Doves, just to name a few. Over 90% of our clients receive some form of public assistance. They face difficult circumstances, including underemployment, chronic unemployment, homelessness, domestic abuse, and violence. At Dress for Success Central New Jersey, we have the distinct privilege of hearing the stories from more than 7,500 women throughout the great state. Last year, employing 300 of those women, many of them here today, so give them a round of applause. You'll be hearing from them soon. This employment event would not be possible without my board of directors, volunteers, program managers, events committee, especially Joanne and Candace, and our community partners and sponsors. Thank you today for your support of our women. Thank you for being here. We have some dignitaries in the room today, and I want to thank the elected and appointed state and county officials that are here today. Our keynote speaker, the Honorable Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver. Give her, perfect. She'll be here in a minute. Assemblywoman Verlena Jackson Reynolds, please stand up. Thank you for being here. Paula Salome Cavella, County Clerk of Mercer. There she is. Nina Melker, our freeholder for Mercer County. Anthony Carabelli, Director of Economic Development for Mercer County. Kevin Kurtzel, Middlesex County Workforce Development Director. There's Kevin. Jerry McKenzie, Middlesex Director of Human Services. Denise Daniels, East Windsor Township Council. There she is. Thank you for being here. I would like now to invite Brian Hughes, our Mercer County Executive, to make opening remarks for us. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much. I am not the Lieutenant Governor, but I do want to thank so many people in the room. This has been a wonderful experience. I think when I first came to Dress for Success, there were about 9 or 10 people in the room. You have grown it significantly, and it is wonderful to see all the people out here really giving back to their community and making sure that we have a group of people who are ready and willing and able to go out and find meaningful employment, dressed for success, and ready for tomorrow. And I congratulate all of you for what you've done. It is wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see there's such empowerment going on, but it is also wonderful to realize that Mercer County, through your efforts, has set aside 10% of our all of our contracting to women and minority-owned business, and those women should be taking advantage of it, and they are in record numbers. So I want to tell you that is a great step forward for Mercer County, and it's a great step forward for women. I think it's close to $20 million now that's set aside for women-owned businesses, so I want to congratulate you. With that, I say thank you for all the work that you do, and thank you for all the work you're going to be doing in the upcoming year and for attending this wonderful breakfast. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank now the Women's Empowerment sponsors. Without you, this would not be possible. Our title sponsor, and please wave for the people that are in the room, Bloomberg, Thank you so much. Where's our Bloomberg folks? Thank you for supporting, thank you for volunteering, and thank you for all being here. We have a full table. We're excited to have you. Our achievement sponsor, we have Bristol-Myers Squibb, Perseverance sponsor. We have Investors Bank, if you could all wave. We have the aspirational sponsors. We have Capital Health, PNC, there you go, Comcast, Mercadian, Robert Half, Stark & Stark, Witham, Robert Wood Johnson, Saul Ewing Arnstein and Lear, Rue Insurance, PSC&G, Olson Foundation. This is a lot of support. We thank you all. I still have more. Key to Success sponsor, we have Thomas Edison State University, our community partner, NJM Insurance Group, and I want to thank Sound Choice, as well as Media Rights Services for being here. Give a wave. Thank you so much for donating your services to us today. Our women, that's why we're all here today. They have their remarkable stories of their keys to success, and that's really what matters, and that's why we're all here. Hearing these stories gives others who follow the hope that they too can gain confidence, self-worth, in hopes that they can become employed and become the next generation of leaders giving back. Naisha Kelly has done just that. Where's Naisha? There she is. She doesn't know, I'm surprising her. So Dress for Success has an international project where there's 134 affiliates participate. A client who has gotten a job becomes the member of the professional women's group, returns to her underserved community and gives back to the very people in her neighborhood who need her the most. I'm happy to announce this year's Dress for Success Community Action Project was committed to transforming women's financial health in each local community by heightening education and engaging people in that community to guard their financial health and wealth. The CAP project theme this year was Women in Poverty, and the title of Naisha Kelly's report was Your Journey to Financial Freedom. The CAP project had been an epic moment in Naisha's life as she described it, but what she does not know is she was ranked in the top 10 affiliates of Dress for Success from all around the world. This is the first time she's hearing this. I know. So, yeah. She's gonna make me cry. So Naisha delivered workshops at Brookdale Community College in Monmouth County, New Jersey, to a group called Displaced Homemakers. She worked alongside our program managers in financial literacy, designing your future, and financial workshops all throughout Mercer County. We'd like to now present Naisha with a certificate of achievement for her community giving and being ranked 10 out of 134. Please come up and accept your award. Let me get it to her.
Oh, I forgot to stare.
You don't have to say much. Just say
Okay.
Thank you. She doesn't know. Sorry. This is a big surprise to her. We just found out 2 days ago, so I added it to my agenda. You don't have to, you can just say thank you. You don't have to.
Thank you so much. I just want to leave y'all with a quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Thank you, Dress for Success, for letting me know that I am powerful beyond measure. Thank you. Oh, this way.
Today, I am inspired by our women who have taken the brave step to be advocates for us. We have a few success ambassadors to tell about their journey. The key to their success is a much talked about subject. Some define it in basic terms. Go the extra mile, you'll be successful. Hard work and determination pays off. Success lies in seeing failure as a tool. We've all heard all of these. We want to hear now from the success ambassadors and find out how they feel and what their key with Dress for Success has been.
The key to my success is growing. Before Dress for Success, I didn't have enough faith in myself. Thanks to Dress for Success, I have overcome many obstacles I couldn't achieve. I now know what it feels to be promoted. I now know what it feels to have a diploma. and I now know what it feels to be in control of my future. Thanks to Dress for Success.
The key to my success is stop being in my own way, to move forward, keep myself surrounded by inspiring women. And I met someone this weekend that was just that case, and we shared the same story. And to keep sharing your stories with other women. And I inspire and empower myself. Dress for Success has helped me to move forward. And yes, this does get emotional. So I'll keep it short. But thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy.
We do a lot of crying here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Crystal. So the key to my success is motivation. Before Dress for Success, I didn't have no faith in myself. I didn't have strength to do anything. I went into real bad depression. I was in a bad DV case. I was younger and I got burnt really bad. And coming to Dress for Success must have been a sign from God. Nancy here was one of my nurses as I was younger, 3 years old, and I had no idea. Since going to Dress for Success, I became store manager at Family Dollar. I enrolled as RN at Mercer County Community College, and I also got my CNA certificate, and I will keep moving forward. So because of Dress for Success and everybody, the women, the sponsors, I'm now making it, and I'm moving forward.
Hi, I'm Donna. Good morning. Oh, there's a lot of you in the room. I didn't turn around. I got to read off of this because I don't want to miss anyone. Can you hear me even down here? Okay. The key to my success is knowing I now have the skills I need to succeed. Dress for Success, Central Jersey. I didn't put the new in it because I'm a Jersey girl. Gave me those skills through the 9-week Designing Your Future program managed by Nancy. Much respect, Nancy. I'm going to cry. I have learned so much from my mentors, Charlotte. Hey, girl. And Marilyn, thank you. You've done more than I can even write on this paper. The most significant thing that I walked away with is the fact that no one at Dress for Success ever looked down on me, something I've become used to in my life. And because of that, I am more trusting of others and able to make eye contact. My counselor at Woman's Space registered me for this program, and I thanked her for that yesterday. Dress for Success has helped me by making me feel worthy of their time and effort. I want everyone to know that they have brought out something in me I didn't know was there, and that's confidence. I know this because my children and friends see a positive change in me. Thank you.
Aren't they all wonderful?
Thank you. Please give him a round of applause. We thank you for being so brave to share your story with us today. It's with great pleasure for me now to introduce another one of our past clients, Gina Pearsons. Gina wanted to take her personal experience with New Jersey's child welfare system and implement positive change, so she began working for the Department of Children and Family Services in the regulatory department as a program specialist writing policy. Gina also works with foster and adoptive families services, where she educates young people on their higher education options through New Jersey Foster Care Scholarship Program. Gina is a wonderful example of strength and is now a part of our Dress for Success family. Gina, please come up and tell your profound story. Thank you.
Wow, there is a lot of you. So after that, I need to gather myself after all these incredible women sharing their stories. Thank you so much for that. You all are so brave. Remembrance. I see black garbage bags down the hallway filled. I had no idea why they were there, and even more so, I had no idea why they were there. A confused child allowing trauma to supersede intimidation. I sit motionless. I listen yet again to this ridiculous excuse. I'm smarter than most, so I expect her to own up to her wrongdoings, but that would expect a lot from someone who acts like a child, despite her age. I know of her alcohol and drug use, trading me for cash, lack of supervision, and lack of parental skills. To her, it was a string of bad luck, as if she were on the receiving end of her ignorance. Remembrance, 16 years old, Camden, New Jersey. A judge asked me to write my new name on a piece of paper and slide it over to him. First name, Gina Lynn. No, to him, first name, Gina, middle name, Lynn. He's not only stripped me of my name, but my sense of identity. I am silent. No, I am silenced. A fragile teen forced into an adoption with the threat of returning into a group home, lingering in the back of her head. A lost identity stripped by the lack of conversation. I did not want this. But finally, stability. No. Finally, a building. She's supposed to be a mother, but I call her by her first name. She's made it even evident that I'm no more than a babysitter. Exposed to her daily misuse of prescription medications, I continue falling further into the cracks of the school system. I am arrested during moments of innocence due to her lack of unawareness, restrained due to fear of police, and the escalation, it just continues. Remembrance, September 2010. Finally, I'm free. My paperwork through the Educational Opportunity Fund program, it has me categorized as an independent student. I sit in the financial aid office with the counselor with relief that I've made it. A first-generation college student, but unlike the many others, I'm quickly reminded of the terror I endured to get to this point. Good thing you went through the foster care system to get to this point, because now you have all this financial aid, she says to me. As if I should sense some form of relief because my trauma in that moment had been quantified into some monetary value that could be restored into one piece of paper. It couldn't, and it wouldn't. Unlike Olivia Jade, Lori Loughlin's daughter, my educational experiences could not be bought. It was with the assistance of the many social workers, coaches, mentors, therapists, athletic teachers, Dress for Success, that guided me on my path to success. Constant stigmatization with my ADHD, complex PTSD, PMDD, depression, anxiety, and body dysmorphia led me to my transition to the children's system of care. Once terrified of having others hear of my mental health issues, I now stand before you, a proud LGBTQ Black woman territorial of all of her identities.
Wow, that's wonderful. Such a success, empowering story. She's shedding awareness for women and girls everywhere by raising awareness for Dress for Success. Thank you so much, Gina. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Sheila Y. Oliver. There she is. Sheila Oliver took the oath of New Jersey, 2nd Lieutenant Governor, on January 16, 2018. She is the first woman of color to serve in a statewide elected office in New Jersey's history. Yeah, you can clap every time I say something great. She was appointed Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs by Governor Phil Murphy. First elected to the General Assembly in 2003, she became the Speaker in 2010, the first African-American woman in the state history to serve as such. There you go. And just the second in the nation's history to lead a state legislative house. She has chaired the Assembly Human Service Committee and served on the Labor, Higher Education, Women and Children, Commerce and Economic Development, Transportation, Independent Authority Committees. She also sat on the Joint Committee of the Public Schools and the Joint Committee for Economic Justice and Equal Employment Opportunity. Prior to the election in General Assembly, she served as the Essex County Freeholder and was a member of the East Orange Board of Education. The Lieutenant Governor began her career in public service as a Director of Youth and Special Projects for the City of Newark, where she focused on preparing young people ages 14 to 21 for the post-secondary education. She taught college courses in achievement motivation, nonprofit management, and pre-college preparation. Lieutenant Governor has served on the boards of numerous nonprofits organizations, including East Orange, General Hospital Board of Trustees, the United Way, the Newark Coalition of Neighbors, the Newark Advisory Council, the Global Women's Leadership Collaborative of New Jersey, and many others. The Lieutenant Governor has received numerous accolades and awards from organizations across the country, honoring her lifelong public service and advocacy for women. Please come up. We really appreciate that you're here today. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful turnout this morning. I'm glad to see all of you, all the smiling faces, and I'm equally pleased to be in the company of your county executive in Mercer, Brian, and my assemblywoman, Verlina, and yes, you can clap for that. Paula is here, so great representation from the elected officials here. And you know, as I was taking my seat, Bill Harla, those that know me, I'm a crier. And he said to me, "You got here just in time for the crying." So I want you to know that you're in good company and good stead. And I love when people are not afraid to wear their emotions on their sleeve. That tells us a lot about the character, and it tells us a lot about the sentimentality of your expression. So I did appreciate hearing your testimony this morning. And don't be afraid to shed those tears. Never, ever, ever. I think Oprah has a saying about, you know, doing that. And we have to do it more often. And I'd like to thank the men who are here today. It's great just seeing so many women, but let's give the guys a round of applause. So, you know, I got involved in an early version of Dress for Success, and many of you may have heard of the late State Senator Winona Littman. She was the first African-American woman to serve in the New Jersey State Senate. And in Newark, Brenda Beavers, who was running the Salvation Army, established the Winona Littman Dress for Success program many years ago, and I got involved in it. And, you know, I was asked today to speak about three kind of thematic issues, the first being women empowerment. And something that I know those who have had the opportunity to go through any type of development program or a a seminar or going through a program like Dress for Success, you know, I get really amused when this topic of, quote, women's empowerment comes up. Because what we have to begin to recognize and embrace as women is no one has to give us power. Nobody has to give us power. We must learn to begin to empower ourselves. We have to begin to empower ourselves. And where that begins is very simple. There are kind of three things that help us empower ourselves: healthy self-esteem, self-confidence, and the ability to stand up for ourselves. Those are the only three things you need to be an empowered woman. That's it. And, you know, for a long time in our society, we relegated women, and I'm speaking of back in the day, and we're all generations in this room today. But for the younger women, some of the things you probably cannot even relate to relative to women of other generations. And I'm a baby boomer, so I came along during an empowerment phase in our country. You know, we were the San Francisco and Haight-Ashbury and, you know, power to the people. You know, I come from that generation. But the generation before me, I've talked to women from one end of this state to the other who are of another generation, and they described to me, I remember being in Bergen County one Saturday, and a woman came over to me and she said, I remember when I couldn't walk into a car dealership and purchase a car. And she remembered that she got her first job, she was making good money, and she went to buy a car. And the car dealer told her, after she picked out what she wanted, that she had to come back with her husband in order to sign the contract. So something younger women may not understand why this whole movement about women empowerment is such a big deal is because there was an era of time not too long ago that women legally did not have legal status across a whole spectrum of things. And, you know, things like the ability to buy a house. You wouldn't find a woman being able to sign a contract to buy a home or, you know, to get a car. And that is why one of the first pillars of us moving toward empowerment is the issue of financial literacy. One of the things that has been an impediment for us as women for a very long time, we never really were exposed to the whole concept of acquiring wealth and investing and understanding how to leverage credit and those kinds of things. And those things are very important for us to understand as women, because one of the things that definitely will help you establish being an empowered woman is if you earn and control your own money. And that is something that is extremely important. But just think, there was an era of time when women who worked, when they brought that paycheck home on Friday, they handed it over to the husband or the significant other, and he controlled the finances. So, you know, I'm so sorry these guys are here because because, you know, I'm thinking of something that, like, my grandmother and my aunties, you know, used to say, but I'm sure you've all heard it. But they used to say, now, honey, you can, you know, have the joint bank account and everything, but, you know, you got to tuck a little something away on the side for yourself. So that's one of the first things we have to do in this whole empowerment movement. And yeah, it's true, you guys. Yeah. And yeah. So we've come a very long way. And, Dress for Success, let's talk about, what facilitated the creation of Dress for Success. And it was women who were out in the workforce, the labor force, and working in occupations and professions, wanting to help lift up other women to give them a step up and an entrance, into the world of work. And one of the things that we know stood in our way as women, first of all, and I told you, you could cry. I cried. Trust me, I cried. I was in Hackensack yesterday at Hackensack University Hospital, where they dedicated the John Thayer Hackensack Meridian Health affiliation with Georgetown University and the Lombardi Cancer Center. And just listening to those brilliant medical minds who are making strides in cures for cancer, all I could think about listening to them was my grandmother, who is gone, but 50 years ago she was diagnosed with cancer. And I just thought about her journey as a cancer patient and survivor, how primitive it was with the harsh radiation and that sort of thing. So as the doctors were crying, were talking, I got, oh gosh, these guys are great, they're geniuses. And I got so many texts and people who came up to me after the program. But one man who I loved, he had established a philanthropic trust at the hospital in the name of his daughter who had passed from cancer. And he came up to me. I never met this man. He lived in Chester, New Jersey. And he said, "I love you because you talk like a human being and not a politician." And I think that those of us who are in government and in careers, we can never not be afraid to show our humanity. So, yes. So women in the workforce, when we wanted to get those jobs and, we wanted to move up the career ladder, one of the things that we thought we had to do, and just think about some of the movies from the 70s and 80s, but we thought we had to have a very severe looking blazer, and we had to have a crisp white blouse with the collar starched up, and we had to wear sensible shoes, and we basically had to become mini guys in our work environments. And I like to share a story. When I started my career, when I was about 26, I became the executive director of a nonprofit organization in Newark. It had been created in 1946 by a woman who was a trailblazer. Her name was Dr. Mary Birch. And she retired, and I was hired by the organization to be the executive director. And it was a big fundraiser for the organization. I had just been on the job a week, and I went in the ladies' room with Dr. Birch, and she said to me, "Now, Sheila, you should wear pink lipstick and pink nail polish." I'll never forget this. And at the time, my favorite lipstick was by Chanel, and it was called Vamp. And the nail polish I had to match was Vamp. And it took me a long time to acculturate myself that while I loved Vamp lipstick and I loved Vamp nail polish, that I was going to be judged as I tried to raise money for this organization and bring leadership to this organization. People weren't going to just merely be listening to my sale about the worth of our organization. They were going to be looking at my fingers as I was talking, and they were going to be doing the eye contact, because we're taught to do eye contact in the world of work. And I then began to understand that I had to learn to, quote, code switch. And, you know, when I had to do things, I was willing to put on the navy blue suit and the white shirt. But then when it was my time and, you know, my environment, I could put on my edgy outfits. And so dress for success is extremely important because as women, whether it's right or wrong, we have to deal with the reality of we having to be code switchers in our environment because we're going to be judged. And I'm not saying it's right for us to be judged, but we're going to be judged. And, you know, I remember an employee that I had when I worked for the County of Essex, and there was a big commotion going on in an office, and they called me downstairs as a director. I opened the door, and there were 2 employees in the office, 2 women. And one woman had confronted another coworker, trying to tell her that she had to stop dressing the way she dressed in the office. And they were having an all-out confrontation in this office. And, you know, Edith was the confronter. And, yeah, Edith was the confronter. And the woman that she was confronting absolutely dressed inappropriately for the workplace, absolutely. You know, the cleavage was out, you know, the spandex was there, and the lycra, and, you know, all that stuff was there. And she was out there. And she had an accounting degree from Rutgers. She was smart. She was a supervisor of a unit in my department. But that is the way she came to work. And it was not appropriate. And I, you know, got Edith out of the room, and I sat down with this employee, and I said to her, I cannot tell you what to do, but I can tell you, you have an aspiration to rise higher in this department. And unless you learn that you have to dress more professionally, you are never going to be given that opportunity because you're not going to be taken seriously. And, you know, these are like just some of the lessons that I've accumulated and learned through the years. And that is why the whole Dress for Success organization is so important for women who aspire to come up a career ladder and to enter, you know, jobs and professions. And, you know, as the Commissioner of Community Affairs, you know, I'm confronted with an issue right in my own department. And as I travel through my building, I see stretchies, I see crop tops, and, you know, I called the HR director and I told her, you know, I understand we all have different job functions in the department. But the bottom line is we are public employees, we interrelate and we engage with the public, and we are going to be judged as service deliverers based on what we look like as our customers and clients come in. So I'm probably getting ready to rock the whole world at DCA because, you know, I may permit Dress Down Friday, you know, but we've got to clean our act up as well as state employees because it gets to be very important. So it's not just the private sector that must have standards. We have to do it in the public sector as well. And I'm reminded of a childhood friend, grew up with her. She college graduate, and she was a public employee in the County of Essex. And we had a big issue in the County of Essex in terms of people dressing professionally, coming to work. And I will never forget, she said to me one day, when they pay me professionally, I will dress professionally. And I'm not telling you a story. That is what she said. But you want to know something? She spent over 30 years in that job. She's retired now. She never rose above the rank at sitting at a desk being a caseworker. And she had the capability and the intellect and the knowledge to rise through the ranks and become a division director. But that attitude and that mentality impeded her growth within that entity. And so that's why this whole dress for success gets to be important, the way we comport ourselves. All of these things attribute to our ability as women to be successful in whatever we choose to do. And then I'm just going to close with this issue of learning how to effectively communicate with people. That's another rung in the ladder that helps us in our careers. And I like to tell people, I know they have it in Mercer County, but I love the Toastmasters organization. And you can sign up and participate in Toastmasters. They help you learn, and perfect your ability to speak in front of people. I am someone that is an introvert, believe it or not. I'm an introvert, and to have to get up and talk to people in front of people, trust me, it took me a long time to overcome that fear, the butterflies in the stomach, being nervous the night before I knew I had to speak the next day. But what I will say to you as women, just get up and do it over and over and over and over again. And it will just become second nature to you. And one of the ways that it helped me, I got involved with a nonprofit that helped train boards of trustees, and we would do board training. And I began to work with that organization. So I would have to do workshops and seminars. That was very, very productive for me, because it really helped me perfect the way to communicate. And that is, I think, one of the other pillars of us being successful as women. We gotta not wear vamp lipstick, not paint our nails vamp. We can't do what Dawn did, with the cleavage and that sort of thing. But the other pillar is learning to communicate effectively and not being afraid to communicate effectively. But it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. We learn through experience, and I often tell young people, it's great to be a millennial, but nothing beats wisdom and life experience. And so you've got to put that in your toolkit as well. And aspire, and I see we have achievement sponsors and perseverance sponsors and aspiration sponsors. Have all of those things as your goals and your objective. But also remember, what has to come along with it is wisdom and life experience. And the more we live and the more we experience things and the more we interrelate with people, all people, and that's another thing I'm going to throw out to you. Don't stay in your own little box, and go out and experience things. And I always try to tell young people, you don't need an entourage. If your BFF doesn't want to go to the museum or doesn't want to, do other kinds of development activities, go do it alone. And you will find that will pay off for you. So thanks for having me. Congratulations to everyone. I want to thank Dress for Success Central Jersey for all that you do. And for the women, let's continue climbing and going up those rungs and feeling good about ourselves and demonstrating that we are equal partners in the workplace with our male counterparts, and we won't reveal to them that we got a little extra gene that they don't have. Thank you. Oh, thank you.